What's up, everybody? Happy Monday. I'm so excited to be back after our first official week of football. And what a week of football it is. Boy, was I wrong about Hawaii. First off, I was just a cold take, but I was from a warm place. Other than that, though, I didn't have that bad of a weekend. I will say North Texas absolutely clobbered my Miners, which awful bet by me. And also, I don't want to blame Rico, but I also was on Charlotte, and that was just an awful fucking
I
play.
think you can blame Rico.
It was
Listen,
an
so
awful play.
Rico's gonna start joining us once a week for football season. So now Rico already gets tag teamed by Big Cat and Dave. I told him, I said, listen, we're excited to have you on Money Shots. Just know you're gonna be our punching bag. And he goes, that's okay. I'm already the company wide punching bag. He's gonna take his clobbers. So I will totally let you blame the disaster that was Charlotte on Rico.
See, I think you can say that. I might get blocked if I say that, so
You're not gonna get blocked.
I'm gonna
Rico's a
blame
great
my
guy. I think Rico's very misunderstood.
when
I,
it
I
comes.
really do. I think he's like my brother from a different mother. I even told him, and this may be TMI, I said, listen, Rico, we're the same person every day. You think I don't wake up and choose violence? I'm from Kansas. I'm from fucking Kansas, Megan, and I wake up and choose violence. I can't imagine what I'd be like if I grew up in New York City. I would just be
Well,
an insane person.
you don't have to imagine, and we don't have to even really talk about it because uh, we're gonna talk the ACC today. So
I
let's.
gave you the best pivot. Timeout. Timeout, timeout, timeout. I just gave you the best pivot for Kansas.
I did, but I didn't know if we could say anything for sure yet. Can we?
Jack, are we allowed to? Oh, well,
You know,
anyway.
fucking stuff up, man. You gotta learn how to keep your
Sorry, you guys are gonna have to wait till Thursday to find out the big news about Kansas. What can I
big
say?
big news about Kansas. I wonder what that could be, but we'll just hold on tight, and then we'll talk about the ACC until then. So let's start. Let's start with Clemson, who is the odds-on favorite to win the ACC minus 167, and their win total is sitting at 10.5. The amazing defense should return. If it's healthy, you have DJ Ukulele, which I don't know if I say that right.
Ukulele.
But it is what it is. That's still there. He underperformed last year, and let me see if I can't get his name right. Kolbnick, I believe, is absolutely just like breathing down his neck. So he's feeling the pressure here. You got a great coach in Dabo, but in my opinion, the ACC seems kind of wide open this year. I will not be taking Clemson to win, though they very well could. People say Clemson likes to reload just like Alabama. I would say they reload more like an Ohio State. Alabama is in a class of their own.
That's
Like,
fair.
like you have Nick Saban, respect to Dabo, respect to Clemson. Seriously, they've done a lot of good things over the last couple of years, but they're not a Nick Saban Alabama team. They're not reloading nearly the way that they are. I will say that, I respect this team, but I like the under 10.5 wins. It's minus 125 over at the Barstool Sportsbook because you have games like NC State, Notre Dame, and Miami that are all toss up games. And if they lose two of those, the win total's fucked. So I like the under 10.5 here because I'm kind of high on Miami and NC State. I wouldn't say high, but I would value them at nearly the same as Clemson. What are your
God, I
thoughts?
had such a good insult there, but I'm not gonna use it, Megan.
Don't use it. You are fire today, girl.
I told you I had too much caffeine. Like, I think I'm like shaking today. It's just been one of those days. Listen, Brent Venables now gone. He was a former defensive coordinator at Clemson. And I think that's actually going to hurt Clemson more than people realize. Brent Venables, kind of from the Bill Snyder coaching tree. Maybe that's why I'm being a little bit of a homer here. But they also only returned 6 guys on defense. Good news is almost every single one of those guys is on the defensive line. And this defensive line is absolutely stacked.
Dude, if
You
it's
mentioned
healthy, yeah, it should be fucking
you
fire.
mentioned this team last year, Megan. If you remember, I hit one of my parlays because NC State was able to topple Clemson, and that's because Clemson was having a down year. They lost 4 games. 4 games they had the possibility of winning. They were +4 in net close wins as well. So it was a tough year for them. The good news is they don't have to play Georgia right out of the gate this year. And I don't think Notre Dame's going to be that great. We'll talk about Notre Dame here in a minute. I think they're going to be good, but not great.
I don't
I
think
think
so either, but I think it's like it's one of those games where I think Clemson. I don't know exactly what the line will be, but I think Clemson will probably be maybe a touchdown favorite, and I think Notre Dame is going to be a little sneaky in that spot. I mean, Marcus Freeman is like
listen, you know I love those home dogs. I'm a sucker for
immediately
them.
blowing Notre Dame up, but I mean, they usually blow off Notre Dame, like literally blow Notre Dame, so it doesn't really matter. But so yeah, keep going.
It's more so not a play against Clemson, but as you mentioned, I think Miami is going to have a better program this year. NC State, and then we're going to find out about Wake Forest. They're still a little TBD, but there's 3 games there in Clemson's schedule that could either determine their season win total or whether or not they are headed to the ACC title game. Now, are they probably headed there? Sure, but they're probably going to be facing Miami, which we'll get to here in a minute. We'll see how this all kind of shakes out for this Clemson team, but I'm going to pass on them all together and look for some spots, as I mentioned, Wake Forest and Miami, that I may be taking the dog.
Okay, so just if you had to lean one way, I'm twisting your arm since I did take the under 10.5. What do you think about the win total there? Because I'm getting it minus 125. It's nothing. I'm not paying crazy.
And 125 is cheaper than most of the market, Megan. I think the average market's minus 130. So I think that you're getting not only the best of the number there, but the best of the line. I think that this team could win 10 games. I believe last year they won 10 games. Yes, they did. That other half a win is the bookmaker saying, "Come on, guys, why don't you guys bet the favorite here in the ACC once again?" I'm not sure they deserve to be a minus 175 favorite, but here we are.
All right, so we were just talking about Miami. Manny Diaz is out. You have Cristobal in, changed up the coaching staff, and he also brought along a top 20 recruiting class, which is absolutely crazy. So a lot of new faces. And you have Tyler Van Dyke, who was a big name last year. Chirp, chirp, chirp. I don't want to say that he underperformed, but I feel like this year is going to be a step forward for this Miami team. I don't. If there was a scale and it went from red to green, I would say that it's in the yellow, almost the green, and Miami is back. I know I'm saying this, already relatively early, but I mean, I think that this Miami team is pretty stout. You still have 12 starters that are back, along with Tyler Van Dyke, so that's some cohesivity there. And I think that the win total is about right here for Miami. It's at 9. It's even, so I think the book agrees with me. They're not exactly sure which way there's going to play out. I think there's a game or two that they could win, or there's a game or two that they could definitely lose and go under the total. However, I think Miami could shock the world and take the ACC this year with the right conditions. Um, if Virginia, A&M, or Clemson, if any of those go their way, um, I feel like we could be looking at a really, really good Miami team.
Yeah, and I'm not disagreeing with you here, Megan. Full disclosure, Miami looks like they're back. But you know who Miami reminds me of?
Texas,
Nebraska.
no.
Texas. I'm so sick of hearing teams like this are back. Now, I feel really bad for Manny Diaz because he tried so hard for me, Megan. I don't know if you remember. We bet them as an underdog a couple of different times. And the week we didn't, of course, they won outright. Last year, they lost a game by 2, 3, and 3. So they had 3 close net losses, which tells me that this year, with returning 7 guys on both sides of the ball, they should be able to take that step forward. Had a good buddy of mine tell me that they bet Miami at 6-1 a few weeks ago to win the AAC. I don't hate that. My problem is this is what I have slated for this team. I have this team slated 9-3. I have them losing at Texas A&M, which could be a really awesome game. I
Right?
have them.
Coin flip.
Yep, I have them losing at Virginia.
Coin flip. All three of them. And Clemson, right?
Yep, and that's the thing. It's like you have 3 coin flip games. Last year you lost 3 games in coin flip situations. There's a possibility this team could be getting over that hump. They could win 10 games this year, Megan. I'm not quite on the bandwagon, and I better decide quickly because Saturday is kickoff on if I think this team can actually get over their season win total.
Be back is what you're wanting to say.
Again, I don't believe teams are back until they've proven to me that they're back. And
I hear
Miami is
you.
just one of those teams. I bet against Miami. I had Michigan State last year. I think it was week 2, if you guys remember. In Miami, I went to the game with my best
I
friend
will
Brittany.
say, I think that Cristobal is an upgrade from Manny Diaz, and I will say
Oh,
this.
absolutely.
Oh,
Listen, that's not up for debate, but sometimes these new coaches and their systems and all new coordinators and everything, sometimes it takes a little bit of time to buy in. It's same thing with you with Brian Kelly. I know I was giving you a ton of shit about Brian Kelly. Is Brian Kelly going to be successful at LSU? Yeah, I actually think he will be. Do I think he's going to be successful this year? It's to be seen.
see, that's what I was about. I was about to actually go to the previous coach underneath that Brian Kelly picture, which you can kind of see in the corner. I feel like Manny Diaz was kind of like, and I hate to say this, like kind of like a Ed Orgeron hire. He was great for the culture, and he was a great guy, great locker room guy. He was going to get everybody excited. He's from Miami. He's Cuban. He's ready to talk the talk, to walk the walk. But now Cristobal's coming in there. You know, he still fits the culture, but it's just a much bigger upgrade. And I feel like that is going to be what the difference in the Miami teams are from last year versus this year. Um, on to, let's see, NC State plus 700, and their win total is sitting at 8.5. The over, though, minus 175. People, including myself, are relatively high on this NC State team because you have a ton of seniors that took advantage of that COVID year and are coming back as like 7th-year seniors, which Kenny Pickett was what, a 6th-year senior? Saw how fucking well he did under being in college for 6 years and playing in a program for 6 years. So imagine how well these guys are going to gel after playing together for like 7 seasons. I'm extremely excited. Plus, you have Devin Leary, who has proven himself and passed Philip Rivers' touchdown record at NC State by, I think it was 35 touchdowns, and heard he's looked absolutely phenomenal in camps. So this NC State team, I think, could easily go over 8.5 wins. But as I said, minus 175 tied up in a futures market for me sounds absolutely gross. I will not be touching it. But I'm really excited for this Wolfpack team this year.
Yeah, so is everybody, Megan. I was very high and very bullish on this NC State team until everybody jumped on board, and I'm like, I hate that. And I'm not talking to everybody like sports bettors. I'm talking like you turn on the TV and there's 5 or 6 talking heads and they all agree, and you're like,
That's what I feel like.
no, 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 I hate
Notre
you guys.
Dame. I feel like Notre Dame. Every time I turn on my TV, it's Notre Dame. That's all I ever hear is
Yeah,
like,
but that's it. That's the same thing. Texas, Nebraska,
right.
Miami. You have to remember these large fan bases. NC State is just supposed to be this like under the radar second tier North Carolina team, right? Like in theory, they should. I definitely agree with you. Listen, there's 10 guys coming back on defense here. I love Dave Doreen. This NC State team did everything I asked of them last year and more. Can they take that step forward? Yes. Again, just like you, I'm not laying 160 to take the over. I'm just not. That's disgusting. Do I think that they could get out of the season with one loss at Death Valley? Yeah, the other Death Valley, October 1st.
Don't ever say that on this show again. There's
Sorry,
only
that's what it's
one
called.
Death Valley.
Um,
There's only fucking one. And if there ever was a time I would do a rough and rowdy, it would
can
be
you tell me which Death Valley came first? I actually genuinely want to know that.
it's LSU. It's always LSU.
I'm
So
gonna Google that and find out
you
because
can
there's
Google
got to only
Walter.
be one Death Valley. It's
You
a
can
great
also
nickname.
you can also Google the all of the champions in the last like 20 years, and they're all going to be from the SEC. So the SEC is the most prominent conference
Okay, great.
that
So
won Death
Clemson
Valley, and
has
then
this game
anyone from
circled.
Clemson can come fucking fight me on it too. I don't care. Like I really do not. Like, I'm not serious. I've never been more serious. Like I will fight you.
I love you so much.
Go ahead.
This is an NC State team that could absolutely win 10 or 11 games. Absolutely. And that's not up for debate. I kind of wonder how that Louisville game is going to pan out late in the season,
I'm
November
interested in
19th.
Louisville. I think they're going to play spoiler a lot this season.
Well, that's the thing. That's the difference, Megan. Wolfpack, right? NC State last year went from getting to play spoiler, and now people are going to get to play spoiler against them. And
Right.
that's when that regime change happens, it's going to be really interesting. Because I also initially had him slated to beat at North Carolina on my birthday. North Carolina really struggled last weekend in the first half of that game. They started to blow it open there towards the end. I got to keep a better eye on North Carolina here to decide if NC State's actually going to beat them or not. Those last 2 games on the road will determine, in my opinion, this season win total and if this team really can make a big splash in bowl season. I don't want to brag on them too much because, again, scared of all the guys. I picture those guys kind of like South Park, how we envision Canadians, and they have the heads.
Yeah.
They go like all the way up and down. And that's exactly what I feel like they do every day.
I was just about to ask you an important question, but I forgot what it was. Um,
I apologize for throwing you off.
no, it didn't throw me off. It wasn't that important. If it comes back up, I'll definitely spit. Oh, that wasn't a question. I was about to say we should have had Katie Stat, so Katie Pondisco on here telling us all about North Carolina because I know
I
that
need her to stop talking about my Wildcats. I'm very nervous. She is high as fuck on Deuce Vaughn in Kansas State this year. I'm like, Katie, I love you. I hope
she's
you come to all the
brilliant.
K State games with me.
Be excited.
But I
She's
get
really
nervous when other people see what I see. And if you notice,
well,
I've been very, very quiet about that Wildcats team.
you, Rico, and Katie. I mean, y'all are all waving that K State flag. All right. Up next, Pitt. They are plus 1,200, and they're sitting at 8.5 wins. Plus 100 is the over. The under though is minus 127, and that's actually what I will be on. I will be on the under. I know Kadon Salvis should be able to step in and take Kenny Pickett's place, but as
Is
I
that how you say his name?
I don't
I know
know.
his last name's Slovis, but I didn't know how you say his first
Kate
name.
on, Kate on. That's what I would assume, but maybe I'm wrong. I'm usually wrong. That doesn't matter. But I think that supposedly he's going to be able to step in and fill Pickett's spot pretty easily. But I think that's asking an awful lot. I mean, Kenny Pickett literally was a Heisman finalist last year, and if you're asking them to win, what is it? I said it's 8.5. Yeah, 8.5 wins. Essentially, you're asking them to kind of do what they did last season, and I don't think that they're going to be able to replicate the same season that they were able to with Kenny Pickett under the helm. As I said, I like the under here. I like a minus 127. I could definitely be wrong here. As I said, Solvis might come in and just absolutely dominate. This team could just continue their role from last year. But I think they take a step back, losing Kenny, and I like the under. I think it's like a 7-win team. I like it minus 127. What do you think, Kelly?
Megan, they also lost their offensive coordinator. I don't know how I just missed that
Yeah, I
when
don't
I
think I
was
wrote that down
doing
either.
my ACC preview, but that's just as bad as losing Kenny Pickett. Bringing in a new offensive coordinator, a whole new offensive regime, a whole new offensive scheme is really interesting here. That scares me. But they are returning 8 guys on offense, and they're
Right.
returning 7 guys on defense, which is good news for them. I think Pitt is going to be competitive um,
I
in
think
the
they'll cover
Coastal
a lot.
Division. What
I
was
think
that? I'm
I
sorry.
think they'll cover a lot. I think that like they'll be a good covering team, but I don't think they'll be a good favorite
See,
team.
I actually thought the opposite. So
Really?
West Virginia +7 on Saturday is on my long list for my
I already love
parlay.
West Virginia. I like them on the money line. I'll tell you all that now.
Yeah, they play on Thursday, so they probably won't make my parlay unless somehow I pull this out of my ass on a Wednesday, which I always hate to like push. So I may just give out West Virginia +7. You guys heard it here first, and a little sprinkle on the money line by itself. We'll see how that one ends up playing out. You mentioned that you thought Louisville could be really scrappy. They play at Louisville, at North Carolina, at Virginia, and at Miami. This team could start off relatively hot. Well, I take that back. They play Tennessee week 2. This team might actually just fall flat on their fucking face this year, Megan.
That's why it's not that I don't believe in the team themselves. I just feel like it's like there's not a step forward being
Well,
taken.
I mean, listen, as long as Pat Narduzzi doesn't kick 1-yard field goals, surely they can win a couple of these games. I mean, this is the most bonehead coach I've ever seen in my life, at least in terms of college. Vance Joseph and a couple others in the NFL, but they like to kick short field goals too. But last year, that was the difference. All of a sudden, Narduzzi had a great offensive coordinator. Wonder why he left, and he didn't make those same ridiculous mistakes. So, could I see this team finishing 7-5? I hate to break it to Panther fans, but yeah, I mean they're going to be
That's what I would.
probably a home touchdown. Depending on how the West Virginia game goes, they could be up to a touchdown dog to Tennessee. They're going to be a dog at Louisville, a dog at North Carolina, a dog at Virginia, and a dog at Miami. So kind of throw out what you guys saw last year and know that Pitt has the talent and the ability to somewhat replicate they did last year. I just don't think it's going to happen.
I would agree with you, and I like that you also agree with me. We touched on this team just a little bit, and I didn't get to see much of them. You've mentioned that you watched the first half, but North Carolina, a big win over a cupcake school. You still got Mac Brown, but you lost a lot of pieces. So, Kelly, tell me what you collected from this North Carolina team after seeing them with your own eyes for the first time this season. And do you think that they are capable? Well, I'd ask you what their win total is, but I forgot that it was taken down. I probably should have looked at it like last week. Do you think they're capable of winning the ACC plus 1600?
I don't know if their offense is capable of winning 7 games. That's my biggest thing. And we did see that offense open up there in the second half against Florida A&M, but they came out and got punched in the fucking mouth quickly.
Sam Howell's gone, right? That's who was there last year. Or is he still there?
Yeah, it's Drake. I believe it's Drake May that's their starting quarterback, and that's also up for debate, depending on if Harnell is going to play or not. Which, as I mentioned, I should have said I wasn't watching the North Carolina game. I was flipping back and forth between about 4 games, and every time I kept flipping back and forth, Florimo or whatever the fuck Jack Mack was calling them, I forgot what acronym, team who had 25 missing players or something egregious and came in here, voted to play. They played and, they hung in there for a little while. Mac Brown is, I'm not sure what to think of Mac Brown. I thought he got fired from Texas too early, but that's just what Texas does, is to get rid of really good coaches. He's done a okay job. I mean, 9-3, or I'm sorry, 8-3 in 2020, 7-5 last year. That's just an okay job. I think they're going to lose at least 4, if not 5 ACC games. So no, I don't think it's worth a shot to bet them to win the ACC. This is a team that should be decent on the defensive side of the ball, and we did see that defense kind of step up there in the second half. And we've seen these big name schools pass over these crappy name schools like hundreds of times, Megan. I mean, that's why we see FCS schools beat Division I schools. It happens because these teams like North Carolina, they're not excited about A&M. And the only reason why anybody's even excited about App State next weekend is because that one time App State knocked off Michigan. And people are like, oh, you can't overlook App State ever since then. So we'll see. App State, though, I think could give North Carolina a run for their money. Look for that one this weekend as well. I may be taking the points.
All right, up next, one that you caught a lot of slack and flack for last year, and one that is my hot take this year. Let's move on to Florida State. Win total is not there because they've already played a game, played a cupcake team in the Dukes, and absolutely smashed. Want to know my hot take? I think that LSU beats them week 1. I think they drop a couple more, and I think that Norvell gets fired by the time they play Georgia Tech. Hot take.
I asked for Norvell to get fired after they lost to North Carolina last year.
You got murdered.
Everybody at Clemson, all of Coach Doug's people came after me, and I'm like, listen, you guys. And then they lose to Jacksonville State, and I'm like, see, told you. My hot take is that they're going to beat LSU, Megan. And I have Florida State on my long list for
enjoy that for now
for this weekend. And I just want to avoid talking about this because I really enjoy doing the show with you, and I love you so much that I would just like to refrain from talking about this team returning a lot of really solid starters and Mike Norvell's seat just being so on fire, it's not even funny. But also, hey, good teams win. I forget the name of that saying that we're not allowed to say, but they didn't cover last week. So you can be this great team, but you did not cover against Duquesne. And we're going to look at this team. We're going to look at them a little bit more over the next few days, and I'll let you know if I actually think they can beat your LSU Tigers on a neutral field.
You know who else was on a hot seat? You know who else was on a neutral field? Scott Frost. You see, want to know what happened to him? He got fucking obliterated.
Yeah, that's because he's a dumb shit, and he called a onside kick up 11. Megan, I was so mad at myself at the end of that game for not having a single dollar on North Carolina. Good God. Northwestern money line.
Northwestern plus the points, but I was too much of a.
I had the first half and the points. And everybody's like, did you have the money line? Did you have the money line at the party? I'm like, no, of course not. Do you think when they were down 11 and Scott Frost was kicking an onside kick, I was like, damn, I should have bet the money line.
Nebraska laying 13 in Dublin, Ireland was
Was
always the
insane.
wrong fucking
Well,
thing.
and it even closed. I mean, the reverse line movement showed you guys all you needed to know, right? When that one closed 11, even 10 and a half in some spots, that told you all you needed to know that Northwestern was going to cover. And that is because Scott Frost is a fucking bonehead.
Well, we'll see how if there's any upgrade from Mike Norvell this Sunday. Whenever I see you guys at the Superdome, I will be there with bells on and my Brian Kelly gritty T-shirt. Hopefully, you will have yours on too. We can take some fun pictures. But I'm really excited to go out there and watch my LSU Tigers take their first win of the season. They have the money, they have the recruiting, they now have the coaching, and I'm really excited to see what will be a national championship team, if not this year, some point close in the future. And we won't talk about it anymore. We'll go leave on that note and move on to Louisville. Louisville is a team that might fly under the radar. And we were talking about them a little bit earlier. Look, Malik Cunningham, is he just not Lamar Jackson light? Like, this kid is fucking sick. Like,
That's fair. That's a fair
really,
comparison.
really think that I would say, triple threat as far as he can run, he can throw, and he has the QB IQ to know whether he needs to fucking tuck that ball and take off, which I know kind of still falls under the run, or whether he drops one of those almost like Mahomes esque dimes that are just like right in the middle of two defenders. I really like Malik Cunningham. The issue is, I think, the defense. I think that's where we're going to have issues with this team. Um, I think they do take a step forward, but their schedule looks a little scary. I mean, they have Florida State, Virginia, Pitt, Wake, Clemson, NC State, and Kentucky. I mean, if they lose all of those, which I don't think they do, but that's only 5 wins for Louisville. What do you think about this win total here? It's 6, and the overs minus 155. So I don't think you'd want to, put up that much juice for a future. But I want to know what you think about the Louisville team because, as I said, I think they could be weirdly sneaky, and I do like Malik Cunningham a lot. If for some reason he doesn't work out in Louisville, I hope he gets to go somewhere really, really fun that will utilize him correctly.
So, Megan, this is another team that lost a lot of close net wins. That means they outgained their opponent, but still didn't win the game. And those wins were last year that they didn't actually win were against Wake Forest and Clemson. And this year they have to play at Clemson, which is probably going to be a big L. And that is my one game that is circled. Literally, this Louisville team has immense upside, right? So they're returning 16 starters. They're bringing back a senior quarterback. I think that they could go in this weekend and beat Syracuse. I think they're going to have a hell of a game week 2 at UCF. And depending on how Florida State really decides to play week 1, I think Louisville could have Florida State on the ropes at home.
I think so too.
That's the interesting thing. And then, which is really fun, on Thanksgiving weekend, they play Kentucky like they always do, in-state rival. We talked about Kentucky in the SEC preview that I was a little flip-floppy on Kentucky. I am as well about Louisville. I think that could be a great game. But to be honest with you, I think that game is going to decide their season win total. And that is why I would not lay the juice on the over.
I respect that. All right, let's move on to Virginia. 6.5 is the win total here. And honestly, I didn't even look up any information about this team because our producer, Jake, told us to take the win total over 6.5, responsibly put the bag on it. He's the Virginia guy. He says that he's convinced himself that they're only losing like 1 game this season. He did say their schedule is relatively easy. As I said, I listen to my producers. Like if Jack told me to, take the Badgers, I would blindly take the Badgers. Or if he
No. You cannot listen to people that are fans of teams. They're absolutely and utterly fucking
I
clueless.
can listen, okay? So all I'm saying is I trust Jake. He's an international lacrosse star, and he knows what he's talking about. Jack, you can clip that, and that could be my homage to Jake. I also love you. You're an international just star in general, and I love you. But Kelly, what do you think about this Virginia?
So my problem with this team is that they won 2 games last year because 2 teams missed late field goals.
You and your field goals, man.
Dude, don't fucking kick field goals. It's ridiculous. They lost to Miami and Louisville last year or they won 2 games last year they were not supposed to win. That field goal should be automatic. My problem is that when Bronco Mendenhall left, I'm not sure what's left of this team. Sure, you get some new blood in there. Sure, you get everybody that's excited for Virginia. I have them losing at Illinois, and I don't think Illinois is that good. If you guys remember, my dumbass gave out plus 14 on Wyoming on Saturday. I think they're going to lose to Syracuse. I think they're going to lose to Louisville. And I know that we were sitting right there talking about a terrible Georgia Tech team with Rico last week. I think they could lose at Georgia Tech and at Virginia Tech as well. And guess what that means? They're going 6-6 this year, Megan. And I'm sorry, Jake. I love you. I'm glad you're not here this week to hear that.
Well, I trust Jake. I'm going to continue to trust Jake. Jake, put that in your record books or
I
your
hope he's right.
Megan.
You're only returning 4 guys on offense.
Megan trusted me today.
Megan, where the fuck is Tony Elliott even from? I need to Google this guy.
I don't know, but that sounds mean. Tony, wherever you're from, I appreciate it.
No, it's not wherever. I mean, I'm just meaning like coaching tree wise. Usually, when head coaches get big name jobs, and I'm not saying Virginia is a big name job, but Virginia is a very big name rich kid school. So usually there is a reason you got this job. But now I got to look it up. You talk while I look this up because it's going to drive me fucking crazy.
I'll talk and let you know that we just got a text in the Money Shots group chat that says hashtag Team Megan from Jake. So you've drawn your line in the sand, Kelly.
Oh, I know where Tony's from. See, I knew it. Damn it. Now I look like a jerk. Okay.
No, and now it looks like you're on the dozen. Boom.
Clemson. Of course, he was at Clemson. Oops. But he's never been a head coach before. So we're going to see. We're going to see how that plays out. And first-time head coaches are always really interesting. You get some guys that are incredibly successful, like Scott Frost was at UCF, and then they go somewhere else and they fall flat on their face. So
okay, so much like this Virginia team, let's move on. I'm very interested because one other team that I just didn't do a whole lot of information searching up was Boston College. Supposedly,
I don't even know why we're talking about Boston College. Didn't we just say like the bottom 4 teams in every division we're just going to forget about?
We can. I mean, do you want to skip Boston and go?
I mean, it is 2:47. We're over the 30-minute time limit.
Yeah. Do you want to say? I know you like Wake, though. You want to say anything about Wake?
Well, my biggest thing with Wake is
Hartman, which is really sad.
That is exactly it. So I will say this: my good friend Kenny White, that does numbers in terms of drop-offs, either in NFL or college, from when a player gets hurt. So let's just say, for example, Sam Hartman's hurt. We know he's not going to play week 1. His backup is 4.5 points worse than him. It's actually even worse than that. It's 5.5 points. And so that's something to think about. So if the line overreacts past that, which has always been great because that's my favorite thing. If there's like a last minute injury, it happened a couple years ago on Thanksgiving with the Lions. No Matthew Stafford, whoever the backup was. And all of a sudden here's David Blau. And I'm like, what? And I text Kenny. I said, Kenny, how big of a drop off is David Blau? He goes, 5 points. I go, but the Lions moved over a touchdown. He goes, that tells you everything you need to know. Lions cover, Bears win. Kelly's happy, eat turkey. It was great. And that's what I'm kind of hoping for here is maybe there's a little bit of overreaction. But as of today, I have not heard, let's see, Hartman.
I thought he's out for the year for an undisclosed.
And that's what they had kept saying, but they're still saying out indefinitely. But Megan, that was 3 weeks ago. See, now, right here, Wake Forest 2 days ago. Wake Forest is optimistic Sam Hartman will be back this season. We will know more in the next weeks ahead.
I would hope so, but what if it's like a heart problem or like I don't know, like something like maybe.
Well, you know, when they undisclose it, it's
exactly it's something
undisclosed. Sorry, that sounds really stupid of me to say it like that, but it's tough to guess what could possibly be wrong with him and if he's going to get cleared to play.
All right. So we don't need to talk about the rest of the teams. That was the last little bit of it. If Kelly and I have any information on whether it's Georgia Tech, Virginia Tech, Syracuse, Duke, whatever, we probably won't. You can look at our Twitters for that. I want to remind you, it is Making Money Monday. So head on over to the Barstool Sportsbook, opt in, place a $25 wager on my parlay. Today it is the Yankees, the Brewers, and the Blue Jays all on the money lines. If it hits, obviously you get the cash. If it doesn't, for each leg that does hit, you get $10 back. Not to mention, I dropped a brand new promo today. It is the LSU promo. And you don't have to be an LSU fan to want to get in on this promo. You could just like purple. You could be an ECU fan, a James Madison fan, a Vikings fan, a Lakers fan, whatever. You just want a fucking purple shirt that says the Barstool Sportsbook on it. But I will say the shirt itself is like an $85 to $100 two-button polo. It's Southern Marsh. It's absolutely beautiful. The material is so soft. The entire LSU coaching staff is wearing one. It doesn't have the Barstool on it. You would be exclusive to that. There's only 4,500 of them. So just know that's all I got. That's all I got. So go ahead, go opt in. It's for everyone. It's for new users. It's for LSU people. It's for registered players already. It's literally for everyone. So go get you some and go bet the Making Money Mondays promo. We'll be back Thursday with the Pac 12. And then Friday, we'll be here with Mr. Rico Bosco. So thanks, everybody, and we'll see you on Thursday.